Train the muscles, not the joints.
Well, how's it going? So today I'm going to do a little bit of some flat dumbbell press. I'm going to do some back and some arms too, but we'll see what I have time for, because I might have to train later on and stuff, so I might have to leave the house in a bit. But I thought it'd be good to explain to you a few things that I'm doing while I'm doing flat dumbbell press and why, of course, right? But one thing I want to say is that there's a time and place for everything, right? There's a time and place for everything, and sometimes there's a time for full range of motion and super lightweight, and I've talked about this before when it comes down to rehabilitating a joint. Because when your main purpose is to rehabilitate, then you start to train differently, because you're not trying to just create tension at any cost in the muscle belly, right? To make the muscle adapt. You're trying to ask for everything to be coordinated together. So a lot of times during my warm-up sets, I'll be doing some lighter weight, and I will have more this principle working for me, right? I'll be more working in alignment with that, as far as just making sure everything is running right, everything's firing at the right time. And then as I go up in weight, I start to focus more now in hyper focusing the tension more in the muscle belly. So I also am aware of, as you use heavier weights, there's exponential forces that go on, so your joint integrity has to be better. So this is something that a lot of guys don't think about. They don't think about if they have an injury, or say a slight labral tear, or maybe some ligament laxity in a knee, or whatever. They don't think about those subtle injuries that will make it, let's just say, more difficult for the muscles to stabilize under stretch conditions, because it's already difficult for the muscles to stabilize the joint properly under stretch positions, like super stretched anyway. Because once you go beyond a certain stretch of the muscle belly, now the muscle belly isn't able to really fire properly to stabilize that joint. So you want to find that happy medium. That's really my point. And you always get the armchair experts that they accomplish nothing, but they have an idea about everything, but they haven't done the 30 years of applying what they're saying, right? Like I was just talking to a guy, and he said he used to do ass to the grass squats, and he thought, well, that's the right thing for him, and that's fine. But he said he also has to be honest about the fact that he was dealing with knee pain all the time. His knees were just destroyed all the time from going ass to the grass. So you got to do what's right for you, and you have to do what's right for you in the moment, and you also have to take into account the situation and your constitution. And I know it's very frustrating not getting the exact answer right away, but if you're going to start with a template when it comes down to pressing, you don't have to go to extreme stretched. Okay, so I'll show you right now. So warm up with the 50s. This is like child's weight for me, right? This is like nothing, right? So what most people think is that you have to come down to here and then lock out at the top, right? They think that's a dumbbell press. Now that's fine if you want to, rehabilitate an area, but I still wouldn't recommend locking out at the top, and I never recommending relaxing at the bottom. Relaxing at the bottom can cause you a lot of problems, right? So you want to stay moderately tight and make sure the forces are on the muscle belly. Now when I go heavier, you'll see that I'll stop here and then come down, because that's where I feel the forces are still on the chest, still in the front delts. But when I come to here, all I do is waste energy. And the energy's not used in muscle tension in the belly zone ahead. It's used in just stabilizing my arms in nowhere land, but it's not used in gaining more strength, okay? Sometimes I'll hold the dumbbells down like this and just stabilize, right? I'm keeping tension in there, I'm not resting, right? I can come down lower if I rest, right? But I don't want to rest, I want to keep the tension on there. And by keeping that tension isometrically in the stretch state, you may also help get rid of some trigger points or some sort of muscle issues that are going on in the area. So sometimes you'll see me do that when I'm squatting, when I'm bench pressing, or when I'm shoulder pressing, because I find just holding for a bit in the stretch position with light weight can help the muscle kind of reset its tension level and reset and recalibrate. So that's a great way to do it. See, sometimes I'll do slow reps like that too. You know, sometimes like this. Mostly for warm-ups. Like people talk to me about rep speed, but rep speed I find if I go too slow, it actually works against me. It doesn't increase more tension. It doesn't make more tension in the muscle. And there's always the argument people say, well, your muscle doesn't understand how much weight's on the bar. I will say the opposite. I will say the body does know what weight is on the bar because your body and your muscles are just a bunch of fancy ropes, right? So if you put weight on one end and then tie the rope around a giant tree or something, if you put more weight on that, the rope will be under more tension, right? So it's the same thing with the muscles. When you have more weight and you have to move more weight, there will be more tension on the muscle. It's absolutely absurd to say that there's just as much tension on the muscle when you're using super lightweight, right? Now, I'm assuming the technique is the same, right? But more weight, more tension for sure. Now, some of you guys might be wondering, like, why is this guy working out with dumbbells when he's got like a whole forest full of workout sticks and leaves to use, right? It seems absurd to use dumbbells, but you know, I understand a lot of you guys, like, you're indoctrinated into using equipment, you know, like metal objects and stuff and things that are heavy. So yeah, I'm just meeting you halfway here, just for the sake of making content, you know, using dumbbells. Obviously, I prefer you to send $4,995,000 to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com for your exercise stick. But if you don't want to do that right now, then no problem. I'll work with you. I'm a reasonable guy. I'll use the dumbbells. See, that's lockout. So a lot of times you'll see bodybuilders online, like they'll say don't do the flat press and just do the incline because it's the same. And although I think that you have to go with whatever your body, you know, whatever develops your body best, but I find that you need to do both. Like, why not do flat press and why not do incline press? And you don't have to do them every workout, but you definitely want to hit different areas, right? Because there's different recruitment patterns depending on whether you're doing flat or incline. So I do agree that some people might feel that doing more incline work is better for them, for their development. Like, depending on the insertions, depending on what you feel is going on, will dictate what you find is more effective. For myself, I've always done about a 50-50 or maybe about a 60-40 split of like flat and then incline work. You know, sometimes I went through phases of not as much incline work or whatever. But the thing is that I always did feel that it was a good idea to do flat and incline, not just exclusive incline and stuff. But you know what? I did do a video about that a long time ago where I said doing exclusive inclines for a period of time might be a way of bringing up a lagging upper chest, just really concentrating on that area. So yeah, I'm not really dogmatic about these things or fanatical. I'm just more like, play around, guys. Like find out what is working, and what makes you feel good to get in the gym is also really important. I find that if you're enthusiastic about getting in here, that's really important. I mean, that's going to basically get you most of your results, because I find that I've got a lot of people say, hey Jason, when are you going to cut and get down to 5% body fat and stuff? The truth is that when I'm cutting so aggressively like that, I'm not more motivated to get in the gym. If anything, I'm less motivated. My strength goes down. I feel just emaciated and worn down all the time. And you know, those of you who are young, you don't really worry about these things, or at least they don't concern you. But when you're a bit older, you start to notice that vitality building becomes more important to you than just getting veins in your biceps or veins in your abs. You know what I mean? Especially when nobody gives a shit anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the way I feel right now when I'm pressing, it just feels like the muscles are like sponges and they're full of like blood, and it feels like I'm losing body fat to a point, as long as I keep my body or at least my diet down to about lower fat diet from time to time. But I still deviate here and there, eat shitty for a few days, or I'll have a cookie every day, and like I'm not so strict that I feel like I'm missing out on anything. And at the same time, I feel that I'm not eating so much junk, right? Because I try not to eat too much of that, but I'm not eating so much junk that I feel like it's bogging me down during my workouts. So my primary focus is energy for my workouts, feeling vital, feeling good, being able to go up in strength or strength endurance, and putting on muscle and slowly skimming off fat if I can. But my primary goal isn't just to skim off fat at any cost. And that's usually what most people do. They skim off fat at any cost. They don't worry if they lose a boatload of muscle. And when you're older, it's easier to lose that muscle mass. It's just easier, So that's my 2 cents. Mountain. Now this next point I'm going to bring up is something that I can't stress enough. I'm just talking to a guy right now. He works for the police force and all that, and he's doing these long shifts, like 12-hour days and all that, and sometimes overtime, like 14 hours and stuff. And the big trap people that are busy get into, or people that are just, let's just say, uninspired, the big trap they get into is that they think a heavy and long workout with lots of sets is the most important thing. Get that in, and you got to stick to that, right? So what ends up happening is that on days where they feel less than motivated, they start to realize that they have this atrocity of a workout to do, and then they miss the gym altogether. They're like, screw it, I'll do it tomorrow. I just don't have the energy to do that big workout. But the thing I'm going to tell you right now is that you're better off getting short burst anabolic workouts in here and there, and you're going to get way more results. So for instance, today's workout, at least the chest portion, is going to be only 3 sets, and then I'm going to be out the door and going to do some errands, right? And then I'll come back and maybe I'll do some back and biceps later. So the whole point is that if a person has an all or nothing type approach, they would say, oh no, I got to do like 12 sets for chest or 6 sets of chest or whatever, or else it's just not even worth doing. That's not true. If you're taking the sets to failure and you're doing them intense, 2 or 3 sets is enough to stimulate something to happen. And sometimes it's actually better than doing more sets, because sometimes people get more into the endurance sort of side of things once they start getting into a lot of sets per workout. So I'm going to say during the course of my career, I got way more results from shorter, intense workouts and making sure I stuck to them rather than doing these massive workouts. And sometimes I just didn't have the time to do the massive workouts, so I wouldn't show up. I just take an extra day off or so. So I find the short and intense, it does like 80% of the results, right? One could argue about the ins and outs of that extra volume and extra weight and all that stuff. But I will say that just getting in the gym and doing something to stimulate the body will do 10 times more than you getting this overwhelmingly huge workout out of the way and having to do that at any cost. Any cost meaning like workout sticks, because I have a lot of workout sticks in the warehouse right now, so if you guys want to order one, just go to my website. You might want to pick up a workout program or some of my music that I use on this channel there too, on my website, but workout sticks, just send the money, and then what happens is I airmail the stuff, and it's pretty neat. It's a pretty neat concept. It's called precognitive mail. So I already can predict with my psychic powers that you're going to order a stick. And so when you send me the money, the stick automatically appears magically in a park nearby your house. So whatever park's near your house, there's going to be a stick there, you know, a 4SD park, right? That's why I'm delivering it. Sorry, it's just like, that's just the only thing I can get the Sasquatches to do. They don't really know their numbers and stuff. So the Sasquatches that work in the warehouse, they just deliver to parks. So that's why your stick is in a park. So yeah, sorry about that. That's it. See, there you go, right? Pretty intense. I even squeezed at the end there in an isometric contraction for you Menser fans. I'm not a Menser fan, but just for you guys, I did that, okay? So yeah, I hope this helps you out in your training, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com. And thanks to the Patreon supporters. And there I have the podcast I'm doing every week, so make sure you tune into that. The link is in the description.